One man is being victimized by our own government. One man whom they fear, yet who millions love. One man who is willing to take the poison arrows of lawfare. One man whose voice has been taken away by a corrupt judge operating in a corrupt system. One man who has been ridiculed and insulted. One man who refused to back down. One man who refused to back down. One man who refused to back down. One man who stands between us and them. One man that wants to see America protected again. One man who wants to see America prosper again. One man who understands that a man is a man and a woman is a woman. One man who understands and protects the blessing of life. One man who wants to restore American exceptionalism. One man who once again wants to make America that shining city on a hill for all to see. A place where all the people of the world glowingly set their eyes upon. America. One man who unashamedly wants to make America great again. That one man is Donald Trump.
This is Fanfare with Barry Cunningham.
The Gallup poll came out this week that showed that independent voters are now by far the biggest political demographic in our country. 51% of Americans self-identify as independents. Only 23% say they're Democrats, 25% say they're Republicans.
Yes, Kamala Harris talked about immigration, but excusing the situation of the status quo as being a function of one bill not getting allowed to pass by Trump is not going to be satisfying, not to independent voters, not for people who study the issue.
Look at these numbers out just this morning. It shows a majority of Americans support mass deportations for undocumented immigrants. This poll was taken after that first debate. It was at the height of some of that controversy dealing around Haitian immigrants in Springfield, Ohio. So it's a huge issue in the campaign right now. And these numbers reflect just how much of a priority it is. But one of the more interesting things is when you break it down by party. Yes, it is driven mostly by Republicans. Nearly 90% of Republicans say they support it. But look at the independents, 58%, more than half of independents say they're also in support. And even Democrats, a quarter of Democrats supporting either somewhat supportive or strongly supportive of mass deportation. I think that's a number that jumped out at a lot of us, a lot higher than you would think given the current rhetoric from both parties.
Among independent voters, again, 50% of independent voters in this poll say they will go up under Harris. 36% Trump. That is a big issue. If you are Harris, just 17% of that same poll say it'll go down under Harris. 41% say for Trump. She's got to reverse that. I mean, look, for all the issues, two things. One, this is why Republicans want to make this an issue, debate about policy, right. And Trump keeps trying to not is having a hard time doing that. But also the Harris campaign needs to reverse that.
So that poll is probably the most alarming poll if I'm the Harris campaign, to see grocery prices, they believe that they would go up. Because the things people care about the most, voters on the ground, if you're talking to them, are the price of groceries, the price of gas, and the price of housing. And if voters that you care about, particularly in the middle, 50% think that grocery prices will go up, that means that voters who already feel, because we know that a majority of voters feel like there's a tightening on their pocketbook, think it's going to get worse under Harris, and that's likely going to impact them when they go to the polls. So if I was Harris, I would be very concerned about that.
You don't say. You don't say. People care that their grocery bills, their gas prices, their mortgages, and their rent are actually problematic for Kamala Harris. So as I was doing the research for this show, and I'm digging in, I dug in, got some numbers, got some stats for you, and I wanted to do this show because this show was specifically requested. Somebody said, could you talk about independence and see if you could come together and bring some information in regards to what do independents want and where are they according to on the entirety of the spectrum? And as I dug in, I realized, as I'm going to show you, welcome. You belong here. All of you who are independents, you're going to find out tonight, welcome home. Come on home. Because the issues that actually matter to independents are those things that mostly matter to conservatives. Shocking. You would never believe that was the case. You would think that independents are these greenhead people that are running around who can't make up their mind when it's anything but that. I didn't know that 51% of the electorate consider themselves independent. You would know that from looking at ESPN, CNN, or MSNBC. You would think they're all lefty loons. After I go through this stuff today, and you see what I lay out for you, I am going to tell you, again, this woman, I'm sorry, Miss Independence or Mr. Independence, I think you'll see this as well, has no shot at winning. Not if people truly are independent, as they say. And when I say independent, I mean you're looking at the issues. If you're coming in here and saying Orange Man bad, you're not an independent. If you're coming in here with a single issue, you're not an independent. You're a lefty. You're a liberal, and you're just trying to help people or virtue signal and pretend as though you're an independent. An independent is someone who looks specifically at the facts and says, this is what I like better. This is what is better for me and my family and people I love. Because if you're voting with your head instead of, your emotions, it's going to be pretty clear. It is going to be crystal clear to you that you indeed should be voting for Donald Trump. I know you're going to say, oh, Barry, you're biased. You're one of those Trumpies. You're a maggot. Say whatever you want. If you say that, then you're not an independent. You see, I'm looking to greet you with arms wide open and bring you in and tell you we're not a bunch of frothing nuts. We're looking at issues. I'm sure the people in the chat here will tell you the same. We don't have two heads. We don't have 6 eyes and 19 fingers. We're Americans, which is probably the one criteria that sets us apart from the left. We are proud Americans. I have to believe that 51% of the electorate, if they're truly independent, you're Americans. You're proud to be an American. If you weren't proud to be an American, you'd be a lefty. So the fact that we have more in common than what differs from each other, I welcome you here. I'm sure the people in the chat welcome you here. If you have any questions, I'm sure people in the chat, if I don't get to it, will be more than willing to answer you. Because now I realize, and I didn't even realize until tonight, that you are family. You are people who are looking for a home, and you're weirded out about the maggots, and you're weirded out about the lib nuts, and you're like, I'm just looking for some sanity. Now, I'll be the first one to admit, there are some people on the fringe on the right as well, but not nearly as many as people are fringy on the left. Most of the people who are fringy on the right are overzealous about protecting America. They will do anything to make sure the experiment called America is sustained. The other people want to see that experiment ended. So that's your first decision right now. You as an independent, let's go ahead and check off a box. If you're playing at home and you got a piece of paper, I want you to check off a box. Do you consider yourself a patriotic American? That's number one. You're going to go through a series of these homework questions. Do you consider America, the experiment known America, the Constitution, the flag for which it stands, the Republic? If you consider that above party, you're welcome. If you don't, then you've basically misdefined yourself. You're a lefty. So right off the bat, we've got something in common. I'm going to reach out and extend a hand to you. Fist bump. Because that tells me right off the bat we can discuss. We could sit down over some nachos and let's hammer this out. Why should you vote for Trump? Why should you not vote for Trump? Because we can speak. Oh, there's number two. Number two, are you willing to communicate with people you may not believe in? Are you willing to hear alternative perspectives and say, with the intelligence that God gave you, that makes sense, that doesn't make sense? Or you want to just scream at people and go absolutely nuts? Because if that's who you are, you're a lefty. You don't belong here. I will always break bread, sit down, and talk to people who want to have a reasonable discussion. Because I think people who have a reasonable discussion are looking for answers. And it's so hard to find those answers these days. Certain television stations, they're not giving you both perspectives. They're not even giving you the truth. They obfuscate and make shit up. The reason I'm doing this show is the people who contacted me said, listen, we've been hearing this and this and this about Trump. Maybe you've got a platform. Would you like to just show us that proof that it's not true? And I thought to myself, yeah, I'll show you. Then you can make your own informed decision. You see, MSNBC and CNN don't want you informed. It's lie after lie after lie after lie. They just make it up. We're the deplorables. We're horrible people. And I bet you, if you came down to our event we're going to have in Boca, you'd be quite surprised. You'd be like, well, I don't agree with this guy on that, but yeah, I could have a beer with him. We could actually enjoy hanging out. So I want to first, let's go ahead and define what is an independent, as the statisticians and people talk about. And then we have to look at what is an independent. If 51% of the electorate are independents, then that would tell me, if you truly are an independent, then that means New York is in play. 51%. Doesn't say 51% of Florida. It's 51% of the electorate. So if 51% of people are independent and 23% are Dems and 25% are Republicans, you can see that a lot of these states that they say, you can't touch them, should be able to be touched. Because if 51% of people in New York are independents, we can work with that. If 51% of people in New Jersey are independents, we can work with that. 51% of people in Virginia are independents. We need to talk. That's what we're going to do tonight. So let's first address where these people are. I want to show you. I found this article, and this article is talking about the top states for independent voters. And when you look at this, you realize right off the bat, as you begin to look at this, that some of these states are already considered off the map. Let's go. Top 10 states for independent voter registration in 2024. And we'll scroll down, and number 10 is Iowa. That's a Trump base. Trump is going to take Iowa in a big way. It's going to happen. Number 9, North Carolina. That's what they consider a swing state. So we're going to get to that. Number 8, Oregon. It's considered a lefty state. New Jersey has always been considered a lefty state, but if 51% of the people in Jersey are independents, we may see something happen there. New Hampshire, always considered a lefty state. 5, Connecticut, where I'm from, deep blue. Deep, deep, deep blue. I can't even believe they say 51% of people in Connecticut are independent. Nope, couldn't possibly be. Same thing with Rhode Island. Ditto with Colorado. Alaska, conservative for the most part. And then 1, Massachusetts. Do you see what's going on here? The top 10 states for independence are basically, for the most part, liberal enclaves. So are they truly independent? Are people lying to themselves? Are they lying to their friends? Because if we believe at this point, even in, let's see here, in Massachusetts, it says nearly 62% of the registered voting population as of November 23 are independent voters. If 62% of Massachusetts voters are truly independent, there's only 2 things that can be happening up there. Either they're lying when they are polled or when they register, or they're cheating. Just by the law of averages, you're seeing this data probably for the first time. You're like, what? 62% of the registered voters as of November 2023 are independents? We got a problem here. We have a problem with our electorate. We have a problem with our voter registration. We have a problem with voter counting. We have a problem with the ballots. Because if this number is true, that you're all seeing right there, if 62% of people in Massachusetts are independent, there's no possible way that can be a blue state. If it said to me 62% of the people are liberal nuts, I got that. But you can't tell me there's 62% of the people in registered voters in Massachusetts are independent, and then we can't even touch it. So if you're in Massachusetts right now and you're watching this and you consider yourself an independent, you might want to start screaming from the rooftop, something's wrong. Because we're told we can't even touch it. It's not even close. Well, I explain it. Let's look at Alaska. Alaska, 60% of the registered voting population as of November 2023 is independents. And so that's considered untouchable for the left. Alaska usually always goes for the Republican. Where are they getting these registration numbers? Are people lying on their voter registration? Do they consider themselves independent without really knowing what it means? Are they choosing just to pick independent because it just sounds cool? It makes you feel like you're a fence sitter, but you're really not? I don't know. Again, look at Colorado. Colorado makes sense. Colorado, 47% of the registered voted population is independent. All right, so the rest are probably lefty loons. We can just salute Colorado. Rhode Island, only 46% are registered independents. Okay, have to concede Rhode Island. Connecticut, only 42% of the registered voters are independents. Makes sense. Where are we going here? New Hampshire, only 40%. You see, these states are starting to make sense because they're overwhelmingly nutties. The nutty butters are up there. Jersey. Okay, this is going to get interesting. Jersey, only 36% are considered independent. Now, Barry, why would you be excited about New Jersey when it's only 36%? Well, if we can pull enough of that 36%, and we know that 25% are already conservative, well, I'm not a math expert, but that tells me you can get to 50% and win New Jersey. Think about that. Oregon, 37%, but they outnumber both parties. That's going to stay lefty. North Carolina, this is a big one, 36%. 36% consider themselves independent. So you got 36% of the people, again, like New Jersey, they're fence sitters. You got 25% Republican, 23% Democrat, and these 36% people in the middle. That's who we need to talk to tonight. You need to come over. You need to come to this side. And then, of course, Iowa, it's going to be in the tank. So I wondered, as you were watching that, did you know that? Did you know those percentages are the way they are? That they're mostly, at this point, independent in these states. Independence, if you're truly an independent. So now that we've outlined who you are, let's talk about what is it that makes independence tick. What do you actually care about when you're an independent? Well, this is where it gets really, really interesting. Let's look at this. Understanding independence. And they show the states, basically the battlegrounds, and which that's fine. And then it gets down here to age, race, and education. Independent voters skew younger than both Republicans and Democrats. Of the total, 26% are of Generation Z, born between 97 and 2012, and the majority were not old enough to vote in the 2020 election. That's important. The majority of independents who skew younger weren't old enough to vote in 2020. This is their first election. Another 36% are millennials or Generation Y. Then you get down here and you see that, basically, if you just stay in the middle here, 48% of independent voters are white, whereas 77% are white Republicans and 53% are white and Democrats. So they're closer to Democrats in terms of their racial makeup. 18% black, 17% black for Democrats, and only 4% for Republicans. Sorry to throw so many numbers at you, but I want to define specifically who and what kind of person is most likely going to be an independent. 20% Hispanic, which mirrors Democrats and is much higher than the Republicans. 8% other and 6% mixed. No college degree. 74% of independents do not have a college degree. By far the biggest percentage on here. More than Republicans and way more than Democrats. And so you have to understand who we're talking about. Working and living. And I know I'm taking some time and I'm throwing a lot of data at you because I want to define what an independent actually is. 23% are working. And then we get down to the finances here. 40% are under 50 grand. 27% are under 100. So basically 67% of independents make less than 100 grand in their household. That's very important. Very important. Just remember that as I move forward here. Whereas over here, the Republicans, it's basically 51% are under 100, whereas the Democrats are 51% under 100. So you got a lot of people in the middle who don't have a lot of money. These are people who are basically looking at issues and saying, what's more important to me? And I think the news has been lying to us. I'm pretty sure the news has been lying to us. Housing status, 31% of independents rent, and 33% aren't paying anything, which means they're probably living with mom and dad. So, as we move down here, I want you to see now, because you just saw what the income status and home ownership status was. Now let's look at what the top of mind issues that independents think of. 87% of Democrats consider the economy as their top issue. 75% of independent voters consider the economy as important, and 93% of Republicans. And I want to go down here because this is very important, because it's not something that they've been telling you. Government efforts to reduce crime, 73%. Crime on Democrats, 84%. Crime on Republicans, 91%. Remember, this is a younger demographic. America carries too much of the financial burden for protecting its allies. This is where you start seeing the independent shift to the right. Democrats, only 56% says we're spending too much on these other countries. Keep spending. Independents, 63% of independents say, hey, listen, we're spending too much money on Zelensky. Where, of course, Republicans are, hey, listen, 86% of us like, no, turn it off. The next one, this is the big one. You've been lied to so much because you thought independents wanted this. Baby removal. Of course, you know the Democrats are 86%. They pushed all in on baby removal. But when you look in the middle, it's only 57%. It is not an overwhelming majority of independents. It's a slight majority. But 57% is a lot different from 86 and a lot closer to the Republicans who are at 47%. So we, us people on the right, are closer in data and ideology to independents than the left is. I want you to really look at that. Hope you can see it and everything, because that is a huge thing. And then the next category is probably even more stunning. Racism. 82% of Democrats think racism is a big deal. Only 56% of independents think racism is a big deal. And of course, only 36% of Republicans. This is eye-opening. All of those pillars of the left are not being embraced fully by independents. In fact, they're seriously right down the middle. They're as you can see, they are only 56% right up the middle who care about racism, and only 57% really care about baby removal. That's stunning. We've been told that Trump is losing the young, he's losing independence, and it's all BS. Because we are closer. We can talk about it. We're not just rabid people running around screaming, my body, my choice. Hey, let's talk about this. And I'm saying we do have the ability to talk about it. And then down here, we get even more data. I did not vote in the 2020 election. 53%. Why is that important? I want you to tell me why it's so important that most of the independents did not vote in the 2020 election. That means they can't be polled. If they didn't register to vote back then, and there's no history on them, then all the polls you're seeing are full of crap. Yeah, some of them might be able to be polled or raise their hand, but for the most part, they haven't. They weren't here 2020, only 4 years ago, and they weren't even part of the electorate. That's monstrous. Especially, not to just keep going crazy with math, but if it's 51% of the entire electorate and 53% of that 51 have never voted or didn't vote in 2020. You starting to see a picture emerge here? Stunning. I hope I didn't throw too many numbers at you right quick. And then this is what's really got to have the gourd of Democrats. 70% of Democrats feel that my vote makes a difference in the outcome of an election. 63% of Republicans feel my vote makes a difference in the outcome of election. 31%, only 31% of independents think their vote even matters. So I'm going to give you all a homework assignment tonight. I want you to reach out to as many independents as you possibly can. Let them know you're willing to talk to them and tell them your vote matters. because they're telling everybody, yeah, I didn't vote in 2020. I'm an independent, and I don't even think my vote matters. This year, get in there and vote, and we'll prove to you that your vote matters. Stunning. Absolutely. I know I'm a data freak. I've always been a data freak. But I told you, I dug in. I just don't do shows off the cuff. I start digging in, start looking at what's actually going on. So let me continue with this. Where am I going here? All right, so now you're starting to see some politicians who are looking at this and saying, yeah, the stuff that Kamala's saying is really going to hurt us Democrats because independents don't want to hear this crap. We've just seen the data of who they are. So if that's who they are, why is Kamala Harris doing everything possible to talk about the two things that are lowest on the chart? Right? You just saw it. The two things she always pushes are what? Project 2025, which is basically tied to racism, and then Trump's national baby disposal ban, which are not big motivators for the independents. So how the hell can she be even close to him in the polls? They're lying. You want me to restate that? If the two top things she's pushing are Project 2025, which is tied to racism, and baby removal and Trump's national baby removal, and neither one of those two things are the top things that matter to independents, how can she be possibly close in the election? And we're seeing right now that some of the Democrat politicians are out here. It says Arizona Senator Kristen Sinema, and I don't know what she's wearing here, just slammed Kamala Harris for planning to eliminate the Senate filibuster to pass the national baby removal law. First Manchin and now Sinema, Kamala will lose a lot of independent voters. Quote, to state the supremely obvious, eliminating the filibuster to codify Roe versus Wade also enables a future Congress to ban all baby removals nationwide. What an absolutely terrible, short-sighted idea. You're not allowed to have a moderate opinion according to the left. So if you're not allowed to have a moderate opinion on anything, how do you think it makes independents feel who are like, hey, pump your brakes. Why are you trying to destroy the country? Slow your roll. We don't want to just basically rip up the Constitution. We're still Americans. Remember, at the beginning of this show, I said, if you believe that you're an American and you believe in the Constitution, we have something to talk about. If you said no, then you probably shouldn't be here. So we are seeing right now that there is a major rift between the lib nuts and the people who are in the middle. I know I'm throwing a lot of information out at you. I'm sorry, but once I started digesting it today and started seeing this stuff, and I'm like, this is getting crazy. I mean, it's absolutely crazy why she would be lying this way. Let's continue.
They're saying she's going to do this, she's going to do that, she's going to do all these wonderful things. Why hasn't she done it? She's been there for 3.5 years. They've had 3.5 years to fix the border. They've had 3.5 years to create jobs and all the things we talked about.
So you see that yellow line. This is a focus group measurement during the debate. And the yellow line represents independence. And the point that Trump was hitting on over and over, which normal people with functioning frontal lobes, it made a lot of sense. What are you promising me all this stuff for when you haven't done it? And as you look at the graph, and this is from ABC, it mirrors the Republicans. Meaning independents sat back and went, yeah, that makes a lot of sense, dude. Yeah, why haven't you done it? I'm not stupid. Don't take me for granted. This stuff makes sense. He's asking a viable question. Everybody would Kamala just killed him in a debate. Did she? They don't want you to see this stuff. Did she? If conservatives and independents were basically at the same point as Trump was talking, whereas the nutty number blue at the bottom is what the Democrats were thinking, how can she even be close to Trump? You see that gap, right? Let's continue.
Why hasn't she done it? She should leave right now, go down to that beautiful White House, go to the Capitol, get everyone together and do the things you want to do, but you haven't done it, and you won't do it.
And it stayed. It mirrored the conservative Republican. The independents were lockstep. Yep, I agree with this. Why haven't you done it? That's why you keep hearing Trump say it. He knows independents have the same question. You want to do this? You realize you're vice president, right? I mean, I know you don't want us to understand that you've been working with Dementia Joe, but you are the vice president. There isn't any space on that issue. The independents and the conservatives are right together. And the media makes you think like she is just doing such a great job. Everybody's pulling for her. And you saw the piece beforehand when CNN are like, this is a big deal. If people are worried about grocery prices, we just saw a national news station just say, if people are worried about prices, it could be a problem for Kamala. Are you so out of touch as a news station that you have to question whether or not people are worried about paying too much at the pump and at the grocery store?
Because you believe in things that the American people don't believe in.
Okay, so you had a fairly large portion with hand dial, so everybody's like doing this real time, you're getting it. What was going on there?
So I think this was an exercise of framing, and I think this is one of the best things that Donald Trump did last night, was he framed something that people are going to remember, which is, if she's saying that she's going to do all these things, why hasn't she done it in the last 3.5 years? And it's a question that a lot of voters had, and I think it's also the question a lot of Democrats have. So you didn't see Democrats go as low when he was talking about that, because they want to know, what is going to be different now? What are you going to do different? And it was a very, very smart exercise in framing. He should have done it earlier. This is his closing. It could have done it often and all throughout, because I do think it was one of the most powerful things he did.
All right.
In addition, as you see on my graphic over here on the side, and it shows 13,000, I can't say the word, and 15, nearly 16,000, can't say that word here, and 425,000 convicts. Did you notice when we were going through the chart for the independents that they said crime was, important to them? So none of the stuff that Kamala talks about is what independents actually think about. What are we talking about here, man? You people who are independents, not the trolls in the chat who are left-wing libnuts, but you intelligent people in the chat who are truly independent are finding out, yeah, we pretty much think the same way. And you're probably not surprised that we care about grocery prices, and we care about gas prices, and we care about interest rates, and we care about rent prices, and we care about newcomers taking over cities. We care about all that. They try to make it seem like we're the bad ones for thinking about this. And I'm digging and I'm finding more information over and over and over that you feel the same way. And you have to feel the same way if you're truly an independent, because if you're an independent, as I started this show, I said the number one thing is you believe in the Constitution, the Republic, the flag. If that describes you, you need to vote for Trump. Because there's nothing else for you to look at. The contrast is extreme. You have to see that at this point. Before I continue, let me go ahead and take some comments here. What's up, Barry? Damn, I missed earlier because Costco has crappy self-deception. It's not sustainable. No, it's not sustainable. Let's see here. People say they're independent, especially with what's going on in the world. They have to be. I'm not going to let's not do that. Let's not call them morons for saying they're independent. Let's begin to embrace them, because maybe wherever they are, wherever they work, their friends, they have to say, I'm an independent, so as that the nuts don't just go crazy on them. Let's not be like the nuts. If you're an independent in here, Go ahead, feel free. Say it. Hey, I'm an independent. Show me more. I need to see how we're more in line than we are different. I'd love to show you. Going to show you here. New Hampshire is for Trump. Absolutely. New, I think more. And the alternative, somebody just said that. Where is it? The alternative is communism. That's why I started with number one. Because if we're aligned on the flag, if we're aligned on the Republic, if we're aligned on the Constitution, we can work on the other stuff. Because you've just told me I'm not for the Karl Marx stuff. I'm not a communist. I'm not for that. I may have empathy, I may care, but I'm not for ripping up our Constitution. That tells me we have something to discuss over and over again. Barry, could you explain the Electoral College and why our votes count? All right. The framers put in this thing called the Electoral College because, they were smart. And they realized as they were building a new country that there were going to be, some people in Philadelphia, which at one point was the capital. And then there were going to be people in New York. And there were going to be people in Washington. There were going to be people in Boston. And the population would be much bigger in those areas. But what about the people who decided to go on the gold rush and went out to Oklahoma and decided at that point they were going to put stakes in the ground, but they didn't have the same amount of population? Did it mean that New York would tell Oklahoma how to vote? And so they came up with this, and I'm saying this very simplistic terms, they came up with this weighted system. And this weighted system said, all right, we're going to give you this many House of Representatives because of the size of the state you are. We're going to give you this many representatives because of who you are. We're going to give every state 2 senators. And that way, we don't have to worry about that. And now we're going to give, basically, when you vote, a certain weight to your state. You got 10 million, you're going to get this many. You got 2 million, you're going to get this way. And so that way, one state, or 2 states, California, New York, wouldn't determine the outcome of every single election. The left doesn't want that. They're the first ones that will scream equity, except when they're talking about the Electoral College. Oh, it should be a simple majority. That's communism. Everything they're doing is trying to change the fabric of America. They want to change the Constitution. They want to change the judiciary. They want to change the people who make up the country. They don't want to have any rules. I assume people who are independent are also law-abiding citizens. They want to be law-abiding citizens. They don't want to just ignore laws, ignore everything. Well, welcome to our little party here. I think every high school student should read 1984. We had to. I don't know if they made them stop. Probably. Thank you, Yolanda. What else we hear? Arizona cat lovers. That's why the Electoral College exists. I wonder if they even teach that anymore. Yeah, exactly. All right, so let me continue. I've got Mary says, I was a Republican once a time until the freaking rhino MFers turned on Trump in 2020. A party is a party. It doesn't take away your ideology. You have to align with people who have your best interest and the best interest of your family most at heart. And so far we're saying it's pretty clear. I mean, it's really pretty clear. So let me continue with this video here.
What made America America? We had a well-educated workforce. Don't have that anymore. We had plenty cheap energy.
Why don't we have those things anymore? Why don't we have a greatly educated labor force? Why don't we have an abundance of energy? Whose ideology has basically said, nope, we're just going to pass you people through school and, we're going to tax and do everything we possibly can to make sure that you have some sort of incurred hardship. So it's just not easy for you. Because there's the other countries over here that need your money. So we're going to tax you more, and do everything we can to make other countries better, because it's not fair. I'm an American. If I wanted to live in Jamaica, I would be in Jamaica. If I wanted to donate to Jamaica, I would donate to Jamaica. Our people in government at this point have ballooned government to such a state that you are now working for the government. I don't think independents want to do that. As you saw, as I mentioned, these are people with the least amount of income, formulaic, between Democrat, Republican, Independents. It was like 60% make under $100,000 a year. So what you're telling me is you're enslaving independents. Because over here on the right, we want to prosper and be entrepreneurial and business-minded. On the left, they just want to be commies, and they're forcing you in the middle to pay for it. Most of the people in the middle who are younger, who didn't even vote in 2020, are probably coming up, and at this point, they're 21, 22, 23, 25, and they're like, I want to thrive. I want to, well, you used to want to have a family. Do you still want to have a family? Because we've been told that younger people don't want it anymore. They don't want the traditional family. Women don't need men. And the men want to have hair bun and not have to be protectors and providers. So that's a question you have to answer right now. Are you looking to eventually buy a home for you and your bride-to-be? Do you want to have children? Do you believe in prospering? Do you believe in setting down stakes and having your ability to pass on and promulgate wealth for your family? Or do you want to live in a pod, eat the bugs, own nothing, and be happy? Because that's what they're also saying. They're saying to young people, they have no problem. They don't have a need. They want 15-minute cities. They just want to walk around downtown. Well, we all did that. I did that. My wife did that. We all wanted to party and live downtown. It was really cool. But then eventually, we knew we wanted to settle down. She didn't know she wanted to settle down with me, and I didn't know I wanted to settle down with her. But we all knew, hey, what do you want to do? I want to get married, have a couple kids, and blah, blah, blah. There is no substitute for looking at grandkids. There is no substitute for understanding that these people, these young little kids, are from your blood. And they're trying to tell us right now, independence, because they're lumping you into that you would rather live in the Matrix. You would want to live in the pod, eat the bugs, and own nothing and be happy. If that's what you want, then you need to go vote for Kamala Harris. If you'd rather that the money that you make or don't make, whatever you do, if you'd rather work 4 or 5 months out of the year to send it to some foreign country instead of to your own family, then you're not an independent. Just understand that. I doubt there's anyone in the chat who's like, you know what? I love paying half my income, 40% of my income to the government. Said nobody. But they're telling us that's what you want, because that's what they want for you. So you got another contrast right now and a decision to make. Trump wants to show you how you can prosper, how you can prosper, how you can make money, how you can seize on different things. I had posted something a couple days ago because somebody had said something to me about there not being any opportunity, and how Kamala was talking about, I want to build an opportunity economy where everybody can prosper and everybody can have unicorns and fairies and everything else with nobody having to work for it. And I posted this tweet, and I want you guys to see this, because so many people, even in the chat, say, I can't get ahead. This woman, okay, I posted America where there's no opportunity, huh? All right, so this Dallas mom, you're going to get floored over this. You independents, you ready? You're only making under $100,000, right? Okay. This Dallas mom grosses $1 million per year, working 4 months out of the year. What does she do? She decorates porches with pumpkins in Dallas and Houston, 2 markets. Here's how the business breaks down. Orders open in July and she sells out in August. Last year she did 900 jobs for $300 to $2,000 each. She also charges extra for removal if she's got to go pick up the pumpkins. She has 15 drivers, probably part-time because they're only working a couple months of the year, 10 delivery guys, and a warehouse staff. She's been in business for 4 years. No niche is too small. I will die on that hill. Hat tip for pointing it out to me. He's a great follow. And this is what she does. She decorates people's houses before, I got to pull it down. Okay, there we go. She decorates people's houses around Thanksgiving and Halloween. That's it. And she drives around and she does a pumpkin display in front of a house. You see that? $1 million a year. Nobody told her she couldn't do it. Nobody told her that these people who own this kind of property, obviously a nice property in Houston or Dallas, and looks like she put down, 20 pumpkins. Yep, about 20 pumpkins, different colors, lined them up outside of a house. I know there's people in chat now, I can't see it, but I know there's people in the chat right now going, hell no. $1 million a year. $1 million a year. I'm pretty sure, unless you've got some sort of physical issue, infirmity, that everybody can go to some yard, some produce center, and pick up 20 or 50 pumpkins and design a layout that makes sense, that looks pretty in front of a house. And then you find someone, who's willing to pay $300 to $2,000 for that decoration to be laid out. And in this thread, I had seen a bunch of people who said, "Oh, that's BS. Nobody will pay $300 to $2,000 for that." Are you kidding me? My wife gets on me every Christmas season. Hang the lights, do that. I'm driving around and looking for a sign. How much? Oh, you'll do that for me? Because people who have the money to not have to do that will pay handsomely. She's finding, and let's see, how many orders does she get? She did look at it. She did 900 jobs between 300 and 2,000 plus each. So depending on how big of a display you wanted, how many pumpkins, how long it's there. Do I got to pick them up afterwards? Are you going to dispose them yourself? Are you having a hayride? Okay, I'll do it. $300. I'm telling you right now, that's a bargain. Because my time is worth more than $300 to go drive and pick up those pumpkins and set them up and take care of them. And I'm not doing that. Do it for me. $1 million. Unfortunately, because she, she's in Texas, so she doesn't have income tax, state income tax, but she's still going to have to pay what probably amounts to 35 to 40% of her income to the government. But it's not that bad when you're making 7 figures. I got to check you guys out. You guys, in terms of after you just saw that. Yes, it gives someone a job. It makes the world go round. Absolutely. At midnight, do they all turn into princess? No, that's extra. That's much extra. So if you want the pumpkin to explode at midnight and a pretty woman comes out, that's going to cost you a little bit more. But my point with this is, the Democrats try to sell you that you're oppressed, that you can't do it. It can't be done in America. Those days are over. The white man has taken all that from you. And I've told you guys many, many times, a camera, 2 lights, and a microphone, and you're in business. You are in business. How far will it take you? Depends on how hard you work. What you say? Can you be? There are people making $100,000 a month on YouTube showing people how to cook, making omelets, how to make paint, all kinds of stuff. What can you do? What can you do that you can sell that people will pay for, and then provide it? So Glenn Beck is absolutely right here. When he's like, we used to have these things. We used to have innovation. We used to have people who wanted to excel. What's happened?
Well, when you put those two things together, and a stable country, a stable government. 3 strikes, gang. What do you think they're trying to do to us? What is wrong with you? America, I'm asking you a question and I demand an answer. What the hell is wrong with you? How do you not see that everything they're doing will destroy us?
That's the case. So as an independent, I'm asking you, if you're an independent, can you not see that the tactics being used are to destroy your happiness? How many happy libnuts do you see? How many? It seems like they're always trying to find something to be oppressed about and something to be angry about. Where's the happiness and joy that they keep talking about? So, if you want to be prosperous, if you want to have your family prosper, if you want to make money, own a house, have a family, are you seeing how your choices are becoming quite clear at this point? Because we're not telling you to eat the bugs, live in a pod, and you'll own nothing. Just the opposite. Just the opposite. So right now, what I want to get into, because again, there's a lot of misconceptions. And these misconceptions are causing people to not understand what Trump is all about. Up until like a week ago, you didn't even know what Kamala Harris thought. You thought Project 2025 was what everything Trump was speaking, because that's all the media tells you. They won't tell you the truth. They won't explain to you, what is Trump really about? Well, guess what? Oops, what did I just do? Excuse me, I got to do over here, and let me do this. Okay, so I'm going to explain to you right now what Trump is all about. This, my independent friends, is probably something you've never seen because nobody in the media even talks about it. This is Trump's Agenda 47, not Project 2025, Agenda 47. We're going to go through these 20 core pillars of his platform, 20 of them. And as you're going down, I want you to tell me which one you have a problem with. Because, you know, we're told that everybody hates Trump. Okay, well, let's look at this. Number 1, seal the border and stop the migrants from coming over. You got a problem with that? Nope, because we just saw that report on CNN that said you want to deport 58% of them. So I already know, because I read the data that said 58% of independents want to see mass deportation. And you want that. Okay. Number 2, carry out the largest deportation operation in American history. Like I said, 58% of you want that. We're getting close. End inflation and make America affordable again. How could you possibly be against that? End inflation and make America affordable again. I'm going to have to say you want that. How do I know it? Because most of you make under $100,000 a year in your household, yet at the same time, you want to prosper. Next one, stop outsourcing and turn the United States into a manufacturing superpower. Well, you may not manufacture a lot, but you definitely want to be somebody who's not living in a pod and owns nothing. You want stuff. And if you want stuff because you're making more money, then you want United States American manufacturing. See how that works? All right. Next one, number 6, large tax cut for workers and no tax on tips. I already know you want that. Why? Because if you wanted to give the government more tax money, you can do it. So I'm sure you want lower taxes. So we're 6 out of 20 right now, okay? 7, defend our Constitution, our Bill of Rights, our fundamental freedoms, including freedom of speech, freedom of religion, and the right to keep and bear arms. That goes back to the first question I asked you. Are you for and do you believe in the Constitution? You said yes, you're still here. Number 7 is for you. Period. You don't want censorship. You want it all. Number 8, prevent a World War III, restore peace in Europe and the Middle East, and build a great Iron Dome missile defense shield over our entire country, all made in America. As you millennials are, I'm not millennials, but as you independents are mostly younger, I don't think you want to get drafted and see war. Pretty sure you don't want to get shipped over to Ukraine. So I'm going to have to say you probably believe in number 8. Number 9, end the weaponization of government against the American people. Now, I don't know how you feel about January 6th, but I'm going to refer back to the first question. Do you believe in the Constitution? Do you believe that was, quote, an insurrection? If you do, tell me who was charged with insurrection. Tell me why nobody was charged with it during the BLM riots. Just saying. But you know what? I'll say maybe you don't want that. Number 10, stop the migrant crime epidemic, demolish the foreign drug cartels, crush gang violence, and lock up violent offenders. I already know that because the other stat taken by Pew Research said you don't want the crime. Wow. That's 10. That's 10. That's 50%. We're on to something here. Number 11, rebuild our cities, including Washington, making them safe, clean, and beautiful again. You know, in order to do that, you have to hire people, give people jobs, you know. So I don't think you're against that. Number 12, strengthen and modernize our military, making it without question the strongest and most powerful in the world. I think you want to sleep at night and feel that you are protected, that nobody's going to be dropping things on your house. Boom. Like they're doing with the guys over the Middle East. You want to know if you go to sleep, somebody's watching over you. And your loved ones. So you may not have a girlfriend, fiance, or wife, but you got a mother and father. Let's see. Number 13. Now this may be a little bit hard for many in the middle to understand. Keep the U.S. dollar as the world's reserve currency. Let's just give you an incomplete on that. If you're not understanding why that's important because you haven't made enough money, you haven't done any investments, stay with me on that one. We'll give you incomplete. I won't waste your time trying to explain why that's important. 14, fight for and protect Social Security and Medicare with no cuts, including no change to the retirement age. So Kamala's been out there just lying. He's talking about how he's going to do this, he's going to do that, and it's posted, and it's been posted on his website for some time. You want to believe someone who lies about stuff or someone who actually tells you what they're going to do? 15, and also, I don't know if he's got it on here, if he updated it, but now he's also said no tax on Social Security, which will help the elder people in your family. Where are we? Cancel the electric vehicle mandate and cut costly and burdensome regulations. Live freely. Now, you may be one of these environmental people, which is fine. We may disagree with this. But if that's the case, you go ahead and buy an EV. Why should I have to? You know, same thing. Free. Go. You do you, I'll do me. Number 16, cut federal funding for any school pushing critical race theory, radical gender, you know what, and other inappropriate blah, 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 blah that I can't say here. So I just got a question for you. You want Transformers in school? You want tampons in a boy's bathroom? You want those things? I don't think you do. But I could be wrong. So maybe that's something you got to put over on that category. You know, that's a Kamala win for you. 17, same thing. Keep men out of women's sports. I can tell you right now, I got 2 granddaughters, and I don't want guys competing against them. period. Do you feel differently? You think that men should compete against women? That's up to you. Deport pro-Hamas radicals and make our college campuses safe and patriotic again. When I saw the frat boys and I see how they defended the flag, that's why I asked you, number one, do you defend the flag or you want to wear the funny hood and scarf and go screaming on a college campus? Although it's constitutionally protected. But I don't need you doing that if you're not even from here. Number 19, secure our elections, including same-day voting, voter identification, paper ballots, and proof of citizenship. And I will add, make Election Day a holiday so that nobody's got to rush. You got all day to go vote. Do you believe that you should show proof of citizenship to vote? I do. Let me know if you have a problem with that. And number 20, unite our country by bringing it to new and record levels of success. You'd be hard-pressed to tell me why you'd have a problem with that. I mean, seriously, tell me at this point why anybody would have a problem with that. Because, to me, seems pretty logical. Let's see what we got here. No EV, they're harming like microwaves. Why does it seem that Trump is already doing the job as president? Because the other ones don't care. I don't see many girls going into boys' bathrooms or jumping into men's sports. Exactly. I love the common sense morality of all those plans. If you're an independent, I think you now can look at that and go, wow, I didn't realize it. Trump has a nonsensical, completely common sense based approach that I was lied to. I didn't know that's what he was all about. Did you know about Agenda 47? Probably not, because it doesn't get talked about. So now we got one thing left. And it's that one thing that I'm not allowed to talk about here on YouTube, other than using a word that you may not have heard. So instead of talking about the A, I have to talk about it and in the terms of baby removal. And I saw from the issues of this election, and we went through a bunch of them. Let me see if I should pull that up again. All right, just so we know that we're not making this up. You don't really care as much about this as they try to make it out to be. Right down here, protecting baby removal in my state is totally important to how I vote. Only 57% of you. So it's not a major issue, but you would think, based upon what Kamala says, is that all that matters. But now I'm talking to you, and if you are truly an independent, I'm looking at you going, you understand? You have more in common with us than you probably thought. And somebody who contacted us, I'm going to say my wife and I, and they weren't understanding what Trump was all about. They've heard so much, they don't know. They were told that he does want to do the nationwide baby removal ban. She talks about it constantly. I don't know what you've heard, but wouldn't you rather just hear it out of his mouth? Wouldn't you just want to say, where do you stand? Do you have exceptions? Because we're told, no, you just want to make sure, it's basically the handmaid's tale. Right? I mean, that's all we heard about. Was what you were all about. And so I saw this, and I wanted to bring this up because of where it was posted. This was posted on PBS. And it says, Republicans change platform to reflect Trump's position opposing. You know what that word means, right? Opposing federal baby removal ban. Wow, you can actually Google something and find out whether it's true or not, and you can look at a third party as something you may actually believe in, like PBS, so it's not Fox News, it's not CNN, it's not MSNBC, this is PBS? And PBS says Republicans, not just Trump, Republicans changed the platform to reflect Trump's position opposing said ban. It's amazing what kind of information you can find out when you're not dependent upon Rachel Maddow, Joy Reid, and the nuts telling you lies. But even that, my two young nieces, I'll call them, there's even more beyond that. It's looking at someone's face as they're telling you specifically what they're all about. So you don't have to wonder. You don't have to think to yourself what MSNBC, CNN, and what they're saying to you is real. Here, listen.
Under my leadership, the Republican Party will always support the creation of strong, thriving, and healthy American families. We want to make it easier for mothers and families to have babies, not harder. That includes supporting the availability of fertility treatments like IVF in every state in America. Like the overwhelming majority of Americans, including the vast majority of Republicans, conservatives, Christians, and pro-life Americans, I strongly support the availability of IVF for couples who are trying to have a precious baby. What could be more beautiful or better than that? Today, I'm pleased that the Alabama legislature has acted very quickly and passed legislation that preserves the availability of IVF in Alabama. They really did a great and fast job. The Republican Party should always be on the side of the miracle of life and the side of mothers, father, their beautiful babies, and that's what we are.
Shocking. Shocking when you actually hear the truth that he's for IVF. Your liberal friends have been lying to you. Right now you're probably going, oh my God, I never knew all this information that Barry's telling me today. So at this point, you either have to call me a liar, Trump a liar, or you realize you've been lied to by somebody else. You see, we are obviously much closer than you may have thought before you saw this video. Not just this video, the entirety of it.
IVF is an important part of that, and our great Republican Party will always be with you in your quest for the ultimate joy in life. Many people have asked me what my position is on abortion and abortion rights, especially since I was proudly the person responsible for the ending of something that all legal scholars, both sides, wanted and, in fact, demanded.
All right, so before he goes into this, you're going to have to go and get some history or civics books to understand that we are a republic. We are not a democracy. The republic for which it stands. Republic. That means each state handles their own business. The federal government's not supposed to, not designed to get into your business. The federal government is designed to do things like we saw Trump do today. Let's help a state out that's in trouble. Let's make sure we've got national defense. Let's make sure our borders are secure. We're not supposed to be passing laws on a state level. That's why in certain states it was okay to drive 65 miles an hour. That's why in certain states you could get a drink when you're 18. That's why in certain states you could carry a gun. The state determines it, not the president. It's not supposed to be the president. Even some of us who are really, really hardcore against baby removal, we have to understand, I live in Florida. You live in Georgia. Somebody else might live in, Omaha, Nebraska. And understand you're living there and you are to be governed under that state law. The only thing the overturning of Roe v. Wade did was say, you know what? It's the federal government. It's none of my business. I'm the president. I don't want to be involved in what goes on at the state level. Y'all handle your business in each state. Shocking. That's all it did. It didn't overturn anything. The place where you live, the place where you will vote, basically on a local, statewide level, that is going to determine what happens in your state. Not the Trump baby removal ban. There's no such thing. It's been taken away from the feds. You see, the opposite is the Democrats want the federal government to rule every aspect of your life. You know, if you live in a certain state and you don't like the way it looks here and you don't think this thing is for you, then move. There's a reason why so many people are flocking to Florida, and it's not necessarily have anything to do with baby removal. We live freely. We can carry guns. We don't pay income tax. There's so many reasons why people move to Florida, and it has nothing to do with Roe v. Wade. Shocking, shocking.
Be ended. Roe v. Wade. They wanted it ended. It must be remembered that the Democrats are the radical ones on this position because they support abortion up to and even beyond the 9th month. The concept of having an abortion in the later months and even execution after birth, and that's exactly what it is.
All right, so this came up during the debate, and people screamed that Trump said this. It's not true. You can go look up the video with Ralph Northam, who was the then governor of Virginia. They don't want you to see that. They don't want you to think or hear about that. That actually happened. Before you jump all over Trump, that nobody wants that. Really? You want to be an adult? You want to vote? Go do your research. Go look up what Ralph Northam said. Be a man or woman to actually stand up for what you believe in. Go look it up.
The baby is born, the baby is executed after birth is unacceptable, and almost everyone agrees with that. My view is now that we have abortion where everybody wanted it from a legal standpoint, the states will determine by vote or legislation or perhaps both, and whatever they decide must be the law of the land. In this case,
that's pretty simple. That's not the Trump ban. The people you vote in as your senators and representatives and your governor are now going to be the people that decide what happens with that. Some people view it as a sacrament. It's religious. But now all Trump did is like, okay, it's wherever you live. It's not federal. Not going to be federal.
The law of the state. Many states will be different. Many will have a different number of weeks, or some will have more conservative than others, and that's what they will be. At the end of the day, this is all about the will of the people. You must follow your heart, or in many cases, your religion or your faith.
Imagine that, something being the will of the people. Not the federal government telling you. Not the federal government telling you, you got to take a jab, you got to do this. We're going to man. No, it's the state. There is no such thing as a federal Trump baby removal ban. It doesn't exist. It's a figment of Kamala's imagination, and she's lying, absolutely lying to all of you independents.
Do what's right for your family and do what's right for yourself. Do what's right for your children. Do what's right for our country and vote. So important to vote. At the end of the day, it's all about will of the people. That's where we are right now, and that's what we want, the will of the people. I want to thank the 6 justices, Chief Justice John Roberts, Clarence Thomas, Samuel Alito, Brett Kavanaugh, Amy Coney Barrett, and Neil Gorsuch, incredible people, for having the courage to allow this long-term, hard-fought battle to finally end. This 50-year battle over Roe v. Wade took it out of the federal hands and brought it into the hearts, minds, and vote of the people in each state. It was really something. Now it's up to the states to do the right thing. Like Ronald Reagan, I am strongly in favor of exceptions for rape, incest, and life of the mother.
Oops. Boom. Boom. Did you know that? I'm talking to a couple people I need to be talking to. They said they didn't know. They thought Trump was just completely against it. What a revelation this is for a lot of people, especially in the middle, independents, who you never see this. You never see it talked about. Kamala and the left and CNN and MSNBC and CBS and ABC, they're all lying to you. He just said out of his mouth, A, it's a state issue, and B, I'm in favor of rape, incest, and life of the mother. I can't clarify it any more than that. The only thing at this point is whether or not you believe him. Because that's you're in order for you to think otherwise, you're going to have to believe Kamala, and you have to say that, Trump is lying. Understand at this point, you're going to have to take that leap. You are going to have to discount what someone is saying and say it's not true. You now have the information yourself to understand there is no such thing as a federal baby removal ban. It can't happen. It's a non-starter. The Supreme Court ruled that this is now a state's issue. What you should be asking yourself is, why are so many states having a problem with that? Why is it that the Democrats want to make it federal? Well, if it's back into the states and the will of the people say, depending on where you live, this is what we're going to do, this is how we're going to do it, this is how many weeks, yes, we're going to have exceptions, no, we're not going to have exceptions, there are going to be carve-outs for this, that's in your local area. It's not Trump. It is no longer anything to do with the president. You've been lied to. I know that's a bitter pill to swallow, but so many young people get caught up in everything in college and what their professors are telling them, and your professors, pardon my language, are bullshitting you. They're doing it because they have an ideology that they want to further. Again, if you came in here, and the first thing I said to you was, do you believe in the Constitution, the flag, and the Republic? If you believe in those three things, everything he just said explained to you that this can't happen. There is no federal baby removal ban. It can't happen. Because you believe in the flag, you believe in the Constitution, and now you understand what the federal aspect of everything is. If you don't believe in the Constitution, and you don't believe in the flag and the Republic, then you got to go ahead and say, I'm a lefty. But if you believe in those things, then you have to believe what he said and go, okay, it's a state issue. I don't have to worry about it. So now you got to think to yourself, do the other issues make more sense and more importance for you? Let's finish this.
You must follow your heart of this issue, but remember, you must also win elections to restore our culture and, in fact, to save our country, which is currently, and very sadly, a nation in decline. Our nation needs help. It needs unity. It needs us all to work closely together. Democrat, Republican, liberal, conservative, everyone, we have to work together. We have to bring our nation back from the brink, and that's where it is. It's at the brink, and we will. We will do it. I promise you, we will do it. Always go by your heart, but we must win. We have to win. We are a failing nation, but we can be a failing nation no longer. We will make our nation great. We will make our nation greater than ever before. Thank you very much.
Okay, so you look at that. And if you looked at that and said, you know what? I hate him. I hate that orange man. I hate everything that he says, everything. His face makes me want to puke. Then you're not independent. It's as simple as that. If all those things describe how you feel, then just go ahead and vote for Kamala and just, stay on one of those channels because you're not an independent. An independent means you can look at the facts. An independent means you have a working frontal lobe that allows you to have discernment. You need to learn how to use that discernment to see when you're being lied to, when you're not being lied to, and find people where you have common ground. Like I said, I'm sure in this chat, and I'm seeing this go through here, there are people that you can talk to and say, is Barry telling the truth here? Is this BS? You'll see the difference because the trolls in here will be like, oh, F him and F that. They're gone. They're never coming back. They're off the reservation. Done. There are a certain amount of people in this country who are never coming back. They will never be reached because everything with them is emotion. I want to see this country prosper. I'm doing everything I can. I'm doing 2 and 3 shows a day sometimes just to see this country prosper. It means that much to me. And it means that much to me that my family and my relatives all understand to look and do some research and understand what's in your best interest. And it's not a single issue. And I already know that because I showed you the data. So if you care about all those other things, it's a simple comparison. You may like McDonald's better than Burger King. Why? I like the two sesame seed buns versus charbroil. Okay, then you eat there. You may like Kentucky Fried Chicken better than Popeyes. Why? Because I like the extra crispy Kentucky Fried Chicken. Okay, that's your choice. But you're looking at it from an information perspective and taste. When you're looking at Trump versus Kamala, you just can't discount this guy and go, oh, he's orange man bad, he does mean tweets, he's nasty, blah blah, and he's got 34 felonies and blah. That's not what we're talking about. He slept with a porn star. I don't care. How is it going to affect your life and your family's life? And if you go through those items that I showed you on his website and you say, well, yeah, it makes more sense, then vote for him. That's what I wanted to reach out to you independents. It's crazy. Trump is the best we have so far for president. Somebody says, yeah, absolutely. And I just look at this stuff from a really 30,000 foot view and go, okay, where do I line up? Do I like the fact that he slept or paid a porn star? A, it's none of my business. B, it was 20 years ago. I'm not the man I was 20 years ago. I'm sure Robin would tell you that. I'm sure she would definitely underscore that. Nope, he's not the same guy. We get older, we change, we get different values. If you're going to go back to something somebody said 20, 25 years ago, or what they did 20, 25 years ago, versus who they are today, I bet you that guy 20, 25 years ago when he was out there partying, living a bachelor's life, or cheating on his wife and making gazillions of dollars is not the same guy who woke up July 14th having gotten shot. I think shit got real. I think he realized at this point there are forces in this country that don't want us to return to greatness. They want to see our demise. They are willing to shoot me and shoot my plane out of this guy. Did you notice today? I don't know how many of you noticed, but when I showed his presser in Valdosta, and I showed the beginning, and I was quiet, I just let it play, that wasn't Trump Force One. That was a small Lear jet. They're changing his transportation. They're changing up stuff. I noticed on his schedule tonight, remember there were supposed to be two events and then J.D. Vance's debate? Well, one of the events is gone. It's not there anymore. He's not going to Milwaukee. He's going to Wanakee, but he's not going to Milwaukee. Why? Don't know. Things are different. In any event, it's crazy. We don't care about false charges. No, we don't. We have many enemies. They are all driven by the forces of evil. Trump said he never even met Stormy Daniels. Didn't she lose her court case? Yeah, they don't talk about that she owes him $600,000. It was just do whatever they can to just say it. Corey says, Barry, your channel is my research. Thank you, man. Thank you very much. I try to do as much work as possible to bring this stuff to you and people who ask for it. Barry, you're doing an amazing job. Thank you very, very much. I will always endeavor to keep to keep pushing to do different things. So tonight, just to let you guys know, I know it's late. Many of you will probably be in bed. And, maybe out at 10 o'clock or so, we'll find out it's not needed. But tonight at 11:30, we got, I'm calling it the final countdown. And I did this thumbnail in a Mad Max type thing. And there's so much information I'm going to share in that 30 minutes before midnight. I'm going to stay up. We're going to wait. We're going to find out what happens with this longshore strike. And Robin and I went to Walmart this afternoon, stocked up some more. I told Ashley she better get to the store, stock up, because it's looking crazy. So hopefully I've been doing my research. Maybe they already settled it. Maybe it'll get settled at 11:52. I don't know. But right now we're scheduling at 11:30. I'm going to go live, and we're going to count down to what I'm calling the final countdown. I'd love for you, if you're up, to go ahead and join me, because, whew, man, there's a lot happening. I'm going to share some videos that are going to make you go, what? It's scary. Absolutely, absolutely scary. Barry and Tim Pool are my news every day. And again, somebody said Pete Rose died. Oh, my goodness. That's two today. Two today. I don't know if you guys heard that Dikembe Mutombo passed this morning. He's 58 years old of brain cancer. So we got two basically Hall of Fame athletes. One who's not in the Hall of Fame because of his gambling, which is crazy because now gambling is legal everywhere. It doesn't make any sense. Sounds intriguing, Barry. If you can, if you can get here. We'll sit here and we'll talk about it. And we'll see how that shakes out. Let me go ahead and acknowledge funding. You guys were. I just want to say, you guys were friggin' amazing today. With the donations, I've reached out to Samaritan's Purse to see if I can get one of them, somebody from the organization on the show, so we can talk about what they're doing and their efforts up in North Carolina. But you guys you did phenomenal. I mean, I don't have a tally yet, but I'll get one and we can all discuss it. But you guys did a fantastic job. All right, so let me get to this. We have hold on, let me get rid of this. Where was that? Marty Covey, $200. Thank you very, very much. We'll get that to Samaritan's Purse. And we have a 99 from Fernando, praying for the hurricane victims. Please donate this money to them. Yes, we will. DC Market, and I'm contacting them to see if we can put a button, do a fundraiser right for them on every single video. DC Marketing and Design, thank you very much. Just another knucklehead back again. Barry's working hard for us. I appreciate all the effort. Thanks, Big Cat, for the shout out. Chris, Yo, Barry, Robin, Ashley, and Midas. If I showed you what he was doing right now, he is just knocked out. I mean, just totally knocked out there on his pillows. Dive in on the Indies. The water's fine. Tim Sperry, just another knucklehead. Thank you. Patricia DeWeaver, Barry, it isn't much because we donated to the Walmart. Never apologize. Thank you very much. Deborah Akala, I am registered independent, usually vote Republican, but sometimes have to vote D down ballot. Hopefully tonight influenced you. Zombie Slayer, I don't know about everyone else, but I'm so ready for November to get here. Yes. China Baby, Barry, I hope this helps. I'm an independent because I like to vote for the best person. Best person. There you go. VCAT, I don't have a job, but I would still like to help the flood victims. Whatever you can do, we'll help them out. Dan Crane, thank you for Samaritan's Purse. Yes. White Wolf, heck with the Republican Party and the Devs. Both are corrupt. I'm independent, but I'm voting for DJT because he's a leader. Bingo. Jeff Couture says he wants to give 20 to the helicopter people and 20 to Samaritan's Purse. Yep, it's I have that GoFundMe. We love you, Barry, here in Central. Cheryl says, I keep knocking it out of the park and being a truth teller. Thank you. Yolanda Gonzalez, thank you. White Wolf again, don't backslap me and say welcome aboard. Understand this. I have zero interest in the Republican or Democrat Party. Both are corrupt to the core. I'm voting for DJT. That's fine. I wasn't trying to tell someone to be a Democrat or Republican. I was talking about the man. Parker Shane for Samaritan Purse, Barry, I'll get you soon. Okay. Jeff Couture, thank you, Barry. Just another knucklehead again. Worried about martial law and an Army division mobilized for North Carolina, Tennessee, South Carolina, Georgia. That would be a problem. Election in question. I don't know what they have up their sleeves. We're going to know a lot at midnight. Yolanda, that's a lie. Call Trump guys need his help. Thanks, Yolanda. Phoenix, Barry, did you see the Georgia election case today? An expert was able to show Dominion system software keys used for security access all use the same passwords across many states. That is just something, again, it's something we're not allowed to talk about here, But yes, I did see it. Barry, what is your view on 40% of ports shutting down tomorrow with the port strikes? Armageddon. It will destroy this country. I'm so glad I found you, Barry and family. Thank you, Lori. What's this say? Where'd I go? Larry, if independents want to keep their independence, that's a good point. If independents want to keep their independence, vote Trump. Astro Joe, thank you. We welcome all independents with open arms. K-Dog, wow, very great talk. So glad you did this. Thank you. And God bless you for donating this money to the people who need it. And prayers for Robin's family. Thank you. And also share this. If you got somebody who's an independent who's sitting on the fence, send this video to them. Let them see for themselves. Mark of Reality, Madam Savvy covered the longshoreman strike on her longest live stream ever this afternoon. Her article said that POTUS can get a court order for an 80-day cooling off period, but she doesn't think Biden will do that. So you said a lot in that donation post, but what you're saying, there is a mechanism where you can basically force them to go back to work. And here's the problem. Hold that thought. Let me finish with everybody. Trey Acosta, thank you. And love you, Trump, Barry, Robin, Patriots from North Carolina. Susan Cummings, thank you. So who was this that said it? Mark of Reality was talking about when he said there's a court order thing that you can do and basically force them back to work. But we are less than a month from the election. Actually, no. We're a little over a month before the election. And the problem is Dementia Joe and Kamala Harris are playing politics. They don't want to seem like union busters by going in and telling these guys, get your asses back to work. They would rather have this thing shut down just so they don't lose the rest of the unions. That's where the problem is here. Yes, he could say, you got 80 days, get your butts back to work. We'll see what we can come up with. And they have to work. Sort of. Yeah, I'm tired, lunch break, I'm sick. But anyway, you could force them back to work. But then you'd be essentially busting the union. They can't afford that. They are in such a pickle at this point. They are willing to see all this happen just so she doesn't alienate the union. That's the only reason. She can't do it because she would basically lose Michigan immediately. That's why they're doing this stuff, is because they can't be seen as breaking the union. They're selling you out. They're selling me out. They're selling us all out. It's absolutely a travesty. So anyway, if you guys would like to join me at 11:30, I'm going to go watch the rest of the Dolphins game, have some dinner, and thank you everybody for tuning in. Yeah, let's take a look at what happens at midnight. Won't be long. We'll be able to jump in here at 11:30 and go for like half hour, 45 minutes, because after it happens, do what you got to do. All right, thanks for guys.